Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's September 4th of 2021, and it's almost 3:30 p.m. here in Fort Worth, Texas. I got an email just a while ago, not just me, it went out, and it's from Lyft, the transportation service that gives people rides. But first, I wanted to mention a couple things and then go to that, so you have some background information. This is Texas passed a new law that went in effect on the 1st of September. Today's the 4th of September. And the new Texas law that went into effect bans abortions after, is it 5 or 6 weeks? After 5 or 6 weeks. And I'm divorced now, but my wife and I, we had 4 children. I don't know anything about, women know about those kind of things. How the fetus is developing and when and all that type of stuff. I'm not supposed to know about that kind of stuff. Anyway, this new Texas law it makes it so a woman cannot have an abortion after the 5 or 6 weeks. And so a woman would have to have, in Texas, the abortion. Of course, they're going to do everything in the world to keep you from having an abortion, mobs outside of the Planned Parenthood places and, all types of stuff. But this is a new law for Texas. And I'm going to quote here from the White House, from President Biden. I haven't read it yet. Today, Texas Law SB8 went into effect. This extreme Texas law blatantly violates the constitutional rights established under Roe v. Wade and upheld as precedent for nearly half a century. The Texas law will significantly impair women's access to health care that they need, particularly for communities of color and individuals with low income. And outrageously, it deputizes private citizens to bring lawsuits against anyone who they believe has helped another person get an abortion, which might even include family members, healthcare workers, front desk staff at healthcare facilities, or strangers with no connection to the individual. My administration is deeply committed to the constitutional rights established in Roe v. Wade nearly 50 years ago, and will protect and defend that right. I just read that. I did not know that, okay. Because that's what I wanted to, I got, well, let me go here next. Governor Greg Abbott signs into law one of the nation's strictest abortion measures, banning procedures as early as 6 weeks into a pregnancy. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll put links to this also. The reason for this video is this email that I just, did I say the reason for this email? The reason for this YouTube video is this. This is from Lyft. Dear Lyft riders and drivers, a new Texas law, SB8, threatens to punish drivers for getting people where they need to go, specifically women exercising their right to choose and to access the health care they need. We want to be clear, drivers are never responsible for monitoring where their riders go or why. Imagine being a driver and not knowing if you are breaking the law by driving someone a by giving someone a ride. Similarly, riders never have to justify or even share where they are going or why. Imagine being a pregnant woman trying to get to a health care appointment and not knowing if your driver will cancel on you for fear of breaking a law. Both are completely unacceptable. This law is incompatible with people's basic rights to privacy, our community guidelines, the spirit of rideshare, and our values as a company. We are taking action on two fronts. One, Lyft has created a driver legal defense fund to cover 100% of legal fees for drivers sued under SB8 while driving on our platform. Riders and drivers, nothing about how you drive, ride, or interact with each other should change. 2. Texas SB8 is an attack on women's right to choose. Lyft is donating $1 million to Planned Parenthood to help ensure that transportation is never a barrier to health care access. And then I'll put the link, well, yeah, I'll paste this entire thing in the, I think. And there's a link, I guess, where you can make a donation. That's what I wanted to mention was, and this, you know, as bad as this law is, just with the time frame of 6 weeks, because I guess that's about the time a heartbeat might show up. I mean, well, I worked hospital security for 30 years. Let me tell you just one example. It has nothing to do with abortion. The grandparents show up with their granddaughter who's having stomach pains. And the granddaughter, I think, is like, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something. She's very young. They show up with her in the emergency room. There was nobody. It was a quiet night. There was nobody in the emergency room except the ER doctor, 2 nurses, and me. And then Grandma and Grandpa and the girl. And the girl was having some stomach pains or something. And that was what she was there for. So the nurses take the the girl onto the a treatment room there. And I took Grandma and Grandpa to the waiting room. There was nobody in the waiting room, of course. And I asked them if they wanted a cup of coffee or something like that. I forget what their response was. And then I went back and I got a couple cups of coffee, but I can't remember what they, and I started back. And then I heard a baby crying. I heard a baby crying. And then I got to the waiting room, the little waiting room there, and Grandma and Grandpa said, "Oh, didn't know you had another patient in here. There's a baby crying. Didn't know there was another patient here." And I forget what I said. I mean, I didn't say anything, I said, "Here's your coffee," or something like that. And I went back. And then, the ER doctor came out, and the nurses came out, I think all kind of stunned a little bit. And the ER doctor said, "Jim, where are the grandparents?" And I said, "They're in the waiting room, and they heard a baby, and they said they didn't know we had another patient here." I said, "I think you need to go talk to him." And he went back. Okay. Now, I've had people say, there's been other cases, things like that. I think even my ex-wife, I think she said, "Well, that girl knew she..." No, she didn't. She had no idea. She might have been a little bit stocky, but she wasn't, you know. And other people, you know. So this Texas law, I mean, the 6-week period, that's bad enough. You know, that is bad enough. But what they have done, Texas is trying to do, I think actually that's going to be, this law will be, I think, kicked out pretty quick, you know, through the court system or whatever. What they've done is authorize people to attack people, people to harass other people, people to spy on other people, people to report other people. I mean, you know, is this Texas, or is this a Nazi, you know, state or a nation? You know, is Texas going to recruit Taliban people to come over here, or are they going to furnish, you know, the Taliban uniform and the clubs so that these people, I mean, this is thoroughly, even if you know, if you're born again Christians and you have a problem with, you know, with abortion or something, this Texas law is wrong, and it's morally wrong, it's religiously wrong, it's also a bad law. Anybody who, you know, who came up with this idea or who voted for this law is stupid. And what it's going to mean is the law goes so far that the backlash is going to be tremendous against this law and against what is, you know, what they're trying to do. And maybe the Supreme Court, you know, I don't think they would have. Well, they just did in a way by not saying, well, we're going to look at the law. They're just saying, well, we're not going to look at the law, which in effect, you know, codifies it, or you know, leaves it alone. But I think now what's going to happen is the Supreme Court, you know, when you are giving people rewards and when you're setting up sites and things to report your neighbors. I saw on Quota or whatever, that site that I read, and a lot of people do, people ask questions and then people, you know, leave comments or whatever, or explain things. I saw on there the other day a lady who said, she only gave her first name, by the way, which is not, you know, some people, I've answered 3 questions over the years in there that have been asked that I thought I had a little bit of expertise in the area, and I used my first and my last name. But you don't have, you know. But this lady left. It was chilling to read this thing. She says, I think she gave her name. I think it was Ruth, but I can't remember. You know, so let's say my name's Ruth. I work in Louisiana. Remember, we're in Texas. Right next to us is Louisiana. She says, I work as a nurse at a hospital in, you know, Louisiana, and, you know, we're opposed to, you know, abortion. We are opposed to abortion. And she says, if anybody comes here to get an abortion from Texas, we're going to report them. We are going, and then she goes through a list of things, you know, that steps that she's going to take personally. And I mean, this is a bad law, and if you're somebody who is opposed to abortion, this is going to be, you know, if you have some way to change this or stop this, you better stop it, because you're going to lose your issue. Let me give you an example. It has nothing to do with abortion. I took, well, I went to a couple of different community colleges taking, law enforcement classes. In fact, when I went through the police academy, when I started the police academy, it was located out in Independence, Missouri, at what used to be a convent, and they had buildings there and everything, but it was no longer a religious place. But that's where we started our law enforcement, which was nice because we had the roads. We could drive, for patrol cars through the whatever. But anyway, it was out there. Halfway through, they changed to the community college, Penn Valley Community College in Kansas City, Missouri. So we were the first police academy class that we got college credit for that period. Anyway, I'm not sure if I took the constitutional law, class at Longview Community College or Penn Valley Community College or where. But the United States Constitution, we hear all the time people screaming about, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and they just, and that's the Second Amendment, that's the Second Amendment, that's the Second Amendment. Then you got a lot of liberals and people like me, left-wingers and stuff, talking about, freedom of press, freedom of speech, the First Amendment, freedom of speech. And the First Amendment is also, freedom of religion. And freedom from religion, by the way. But there are other amendments in the Constitution of the United States. There's the Fourth Amendment, freedom from illegal search and seizure. And that's in the Constitution. And now people don't have to carry on so much about it. Well, I don't know what this new Texas law, maybe we're going to be hearing about the Fourth Amendment again. Back when I was a kid, and by the way, you're going to see a video if you watch it, where I was 3 or 4 times I said, well, I've got to remind myself and you that I'm okay. I'm 90 years of age. I'm 90 years of age. Because there were some videos where I said I was 80 or something. I don't know. Anyway, in this video a couple of days ago, I said, it turns out I'm not 90 years of age. I'm 80 years of age. I do not know what is going on with that part of the brain. So you may not want to pay any attention to anything else I say. Warning, this man does not even know how old he is. Anyway, the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, prevents illegal search and seizure. And of course, the Supreme Court of the United States over the years, had numerous cases because something like that, there's comes up. Anyway, when I was a kid, the police department routinely, all the time, you just seemed like you'd see it all the time. You'd see some car, parked on the street or the curb, and the police would be there and they would be taking the seats out. It was easy with the cars back in those days for some reason. The seats would be taken out, and they would just be tearing the car apart, and there'd be some teenagers there, And the police, I think, mainly were looking for, alcohol. Because, drugs, I don't think were as, So they would tear the car apart, and then they wouldn't, or maybe they would find a, a beer bottle, and the kid would be in trouble. Uh, but usually, they just tear the car apart and then leave. They did that type of stuff all the time, and they did other stuff. So these cases start going to, well, they don't go directly to the Supreme Court of the United States. They go to the local court, and some of them goes to local court, and you get screwed, and people, you're not going to fight it. I mean, the parents of these kids or something, or the adult, that something comes up like that. But then occasionally somebody decides to fight it. It's expensive, by the way, to take a case all the way to the United States Supreme Court. Very costly. And takes time. You might be see, you can drive at 16. You might be a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, and the police tear your car apart and all this kind of stuff, and maybe your parents got some money or something, or and you go to municipal court and you say, and so then you're gonna fight it. Say you're 16, 17, 18. You might be 25 years old by the time before that court case gets to the United States Supreme Court. You probably are married and have kids, and you don't give a damn at that point. So these cases come. If police kick down somebody's door, go in. It's not just the car situation. Kick in your door, search you and do all kinds of, now that's a different, law, frisk and search, or, so, but all those things, they go to the court. So the United States Supreme Court is, of course they don't say it this way, but it's like, Jesus Christ, guys, talking to the police. It's clear, the Constitution is clear. Those are illegal searches. You can't do that. You have to stop doing it. Don't do that anymore. You are bad, bad boys. And it doesn't do any good, because the police are the police, And they keep doing it. And then the Supreme Court says, comes down with it, more rulings. Stop this. So then I forget they say, okay, well, there are going to be penalties against, the police officers and the police departments if you don't stop doing this. Of course, it's in legalese, and examples and that kind of stuff. And so the police get somebody else to, do the search, or they call the other, if it's the city police, they call, the sheriff's deputy to come. Would you go in, or the highway patrol? Would you go smash down this door for us, and whatever. And they find stuff sometimes, hey. And the police are so happy, and then, but then, maybe when their legal department, the police department's legal department, if they have, says that was, oh no, sheriff's deputy did it, but we saw it, we know it, but it's okay. So these cases are going to the Supreme Court, and then it gets up there, and I forget the case, okay. We have repeatedly, and they use a legal word for done, with this, said that this is, a violation of the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. You cannot do this. And we are going to do the following. And I forget what step, we're going to not allow this in this court case. In this case, that stuff that was seized, I think one time I remember, I should remember the name. I think that might have been the Fourth Amendment, I think it was a Fourth Amendment case having to do with pornography, or, you know. Okay, I might be getting the cases mixed up, but let me give you an example. The police show up at this lady's house, and they bang on her door, and she goes to the door, and who is it? And they say, the police. And she says, what do you want? And they say, we want to come in, we're going to search. And she says, just a minute or something. And they say, no, we want to come in. And she goes and dials a lawyer. And she says, my lawyer's on the phone. He says, you can come in and search if you have a search warrant. And they say, well, we have a search warrant. And she opens up the door or something or other, and they wave a search warrant at her, and she grabs it and slams the door or whatever. And it's, I think, a blank piece of paper or something. It's not a search warrant, you know. And she says, this isn't a search warrant, you can. And they break the door down, and they come in. I forget what they were searching for, but, you know, if you're searching for a man, or if you're searching for a computer monitor, they don't think they had computers in it. If you're searching for something, then you can't go into somebody's house, and you have to have, the search warrant has to spell out exactly what you're looking for. And whatever they were looking for, or who they were looking for, it might have been somebody, I think they might have been looking for somebody, I can't remember. Is that Terry versus Ohio? Can't remember. All those cases just blend. Anyway, the police search, they never gave her a search warrant, you know. They searched the entire house. They go through, I think they went to the attic or whatever, and there was a chest of drawers or something there, and they open it up, and there is a drawing, I believe, of a naked lady, maybe a naked guy. There's a drawing. Bang! Was that Miranda versus Ohio? I don't know. And they arrested her. So that case goes to the Supreme Court, I think. I think that was, or maybe it was the next decision after that. But let's say that one goes to the United States Supreme Court. And the United States Supreme Court then says to law enforcement, every law enforcement, whether you're a Texas Ranger or whether you're a Texas constable or whether you're a city police officer or whether you're a sheriff's deputy or whether you're the Federal Bureau of Investigation or tobacco and firearms, no matter who you are, as the Supreme Court makes a decision, if you do an illegal search in violation of the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, whatever evidence you get cannot be used in court. It's a poisoned fruit. It cannot be used in court. You can't turn it over to another agency and have them do it or whatever. That cannot be used in court no matter what it is. That's it. You know, we warned you for years, and this is it. No longer. That's it. Which means, and this was, you know, I mean, of course, this was covered in our police academy, you know, not as much as the course I took at, you know, community college, you know, an entire semester on constitutional law, but they discussed other, you know, things. But of course, it's covered in the police academy when you go to the police academy, because I'm not sure, I think it has actually happened. I believe it has actually happened, I mean, maybe more than once. So you're a police officer and you stop this car for some reason. And you're suspicious of something, you know, and you tell the driver, you know, ask the driver, you know, where are you going, where are you coming from, and then you say, okay, well, I tell you what, I can have you on your way here pretty quick, partner. I just need to look in your trunk. And the guy said, no, no, I'm not going to let you, you know. I'm not going to let you look in my trunk. You have to have, you know, a reason, probable cause. You have to have a search warrant. And you're not going to look in. And now, of course, what they do, the police, what they do now is you'll sit there on the side of the road much longer. You know, the police also should not be able to just, you know, pull you over and have you wait forever. You know, maybe in the hot sun or something rather, or the cold or whatever. Plus, you may have someplace you need to be, but let's not get into that now. So what they're going to do is, you know, they're going to call and have a K9 officer come, or an officer with a K9, and the K9 is trained in detecting drugs or something. And so they show up, and then the dog, probably not trained in anything, you know, probably it's K9 officer's best buddy, you know. They like sleeping together or something, you know, who knows. But then the dog supposedly does something. Oh, okay. That dog's nose is 25,000, you know, more sensitive than a human's nose. And the officer says, I sort of smelled something, you know. And the dog gives a sign, you know, scratching himself or something. And the officer says, yeah, that's the sign that that dog gives, you know, when there's drugs. And so they open up the thing, you know, illegal, you know. That's a bunch of crap, you know, but that's not what I wanted to get into. Okay, car gets stopped. Police want to check your trunk. Nope, can't. I'm not going to let you do it. Well, we can have you on your way, you know. Just, you know, we could call it, you know, and, you know, no, you know. So the officer says, you know, okay. Grabs the keys, you know, goes back, opens up the trunk. Dead body. A murder victim in the trunk of the car. That can't be used in court. That was an illegal search. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that you can't use that. Now the police, you know, they're with their, you know, they're going to try to come up with something. They can't use that. But what else can they use? Well, you know, they're going to try to come up with something. I don't know. I don't think they could come up with something. Lawyers are inventive liars, you know. You know, that's one thing. I don't know whether it's true, actually true or not. In the UK, I believe, you know, they have banisters and banisters, and then lawyers. And I think the lawyers don't go before the judge and you know, they do legal stuff, but they don't. It's the barristers. Is it barristers? They do it. But it's my understanding that in the UK, lawyers can't come up with. They can't just create, you know, things. That's not where here in the United States. You know, if you have, you know, something, a crime, you murder somebody or something or other, you know, the lawyer here can take me, you know, I murder my ex-wife. I think that should be justifiable. I mean, I think I should be allowed to, but I murdered my ex-wife. So then the police come and they arrest me. I couldn't afford a lawyer though, so I'd be executed, you know. But anyway, the lawyer shows up, Jim. Now he's probably not going to say, unless he's really done one, you know. Okay, now what kind of a lie can we come up to, you know? How can we, you know? But the lawyers here in the United States are going to be, okay, have you ever been hit in the head? Well, yeah, I was a welder, and one time a metal C-clamp, you know, they were banged me with a hammer up there, came off, hit me in the head, cut my head open. Oh, so you've had, okay. Do you have trouble remembering things? I keep getting confused about my age, what. Anyway, they'll create, a story. And it's my understanding in England that that's not allowed. We need that. I mean, the English stole our language from us, English. They stole that from us. So we should be able to maybe get them to, since they took the English language from us, we should be able to get, their legal system a little bit better legal system. Of course, it's interesting that the UK does not have a constitution. I'm beginning to think that so tired of hearing about the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Second Amendment, And I imagine probably the police over in not just the UK, but probably all over the world, An Americans go travel around the world, and they go to France and different places, and maybe have some contact with the police, and the American says, I have freedom of speech, I have freedom of, whatever. And especially like in the UK, I have a right to this, Second Amendment. Or, no, you don't, The Constitution. No, we don't have a Constitution here. Anyway, that's it. Let me reiterate again. Go ahead, stick with this here in Texas. Stick with this law. You are authorizing vigilantes, and they'll go further than whatever you think. I mean, that's far, and there already would be too far, But you're authorizing people here in Texas to spy on their neighbors, to report their neighbors. Maybe the school was going to tell, the kids in grade school, Jimmy, do you have any sisters? Well, yeah, I've got a sister and she's 14. I've got an older sister and she's 16. Okay, Jimmy, if she, does such and such, or if she goes to some place called Planned Parenthood, or, whatever, you should report that. Welcome to Germany. And welcome to an end to Texas Law SB8. That's my prediction. Because they've gone too far. That's the problem. When you let people get away, when you let stupid people get away with stupid things, and when you don't stop it, then they go too far. Germany, actually, Germany had, I'm told, from watching, the Discovery Channel, is there still a Discovery Channel? Which actually I think a lot of people call the Nazi Channel, because every show was, about Germany and about Hitler and about, just whatever. And I watched all those things, by the way. The legal system in Germany was very good. Their professors, their judges, everything was very, very good. And other things, their medical was very, very good. But, when Hitler got into control, and then these people just, gave up. Doctors and nurses killed people that had retardation, or all these, they killed babies. That had some type of a handicap. The court system just, washed their hands of the whole thing, and people who were legal scholars and had written papers and all that type of stuff just maybe took early retirement. Some of them, they were the smart ones. Smart ones would have taken early retirement and maybe moved out. Anyway, thank you for watching.